Well, I'll tell you, we had the best start to SmackDown. Also, my friends, and of course, I'm going to tell you this for the next few weeks, otherwise people will go nuts in the comments. Yes, I'm in my mysterious location, which isn't mysterious. I am about to go on tour with The Last Match, which is a pro wrestling rock musical, so I'm in the States for a while. So if you do live on the East Coast and you'd like to come see me be a bad guy, well, you should probably do that. But do you think the finger of power rests? It says no, it doesn't. So let's take it and give the good bits an up and the bad bits a down when it comes to the post-WrestleMania SmackDown. Anyway, going back to my excitement at the start of this video, Cody Rhodes did walk to the ring, and because The Rock had mugged him off on Raw, he actually said the line, "Who told you it was open mic night, bitch?" If you know, you know. If you don't know, don't worry about it. But this makes me laugh every single time. And it's the reason that I will like Brandy Rhodes forever. Rhodes also thinks that the Great One and the Final Boss has basically declared war, but given that he's gone AWOL right now, he has to look forward to the next pay-per-view, premium live event, which is Backlash, but just Backlash, not WrestleMania Backlash. We ain't doing that anymore. He did indeed tell us, though, that there is going to be 2 triple threat matches, and then the winner of those triple threat matches will face off in another match next week, and whoever wins that will indeed become the #1 contender. Now, I made that sound way more complicated than it actually is, when Rhodes also stated, "I was the hunter, and now I'm the hunted." Once again, we're still talking about Triple H. He also told these folk that if they were going to take their shot, they'd better not miss, because he doesn't want to lose this belt. At that point, I just stared at Cody and I thought to myself, my word, I love this man. So to be honest, it just felt like a way to put Cody Rhodes on the show, but that's the point, right? Roman Reigns' gimmick was that he never turned up, whereas when it comes to the American Nightmare, he is going to be on every single program, and I really do hope he becomes one of the best WWE champions of all time, because he's just such an endearing fellow. I really like this. Up. It was then time for some super interesting TV as well, because who was in the back? It was the Bloodline. They were trying to get into their locker room, but when they arrived at the door, their name was no longer there, and instead it said the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, when Kevin Owens walked in and said, "You're not allowed to come in here anymore, but if you want to go hang out in the broom closet, that's fine by me." And this is when Sikoa was going to get super mad, and that was going to tie into the evening, when Paul Heyman made it very clear, we have orders from the tribal chief, and that is to retrieve the WWE title. Dun, dun, dun. We also then got some videos reminding us that it is going to be Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable come Raw, and that maybe I think Sheamus could be on that show when it was time for our first #1 contender match. This meant it was Bobby Lashley versus Santos Escobar versus LA Knight. You're going to have to indulge my nerd side for just 1 second, because a little part of this irked me. Because later on, AJ Styles was going to be another guy involved in one of these bouts, and given that him and Santos Escobar lost at WrestleMania, why the flub are they allowed to try and compete for the WWE title? And imagine you were Randy Orton right now. I mean, he was in a triple threat match, and he didn't win, but he also didn't lose. You would be sat on the sidelines going, man, these voices in my head, they're telling me I should be enraged. He'd be totally correct. So yeah, I'm being lame, but it's getting it down. Otherwise, this was just super fun, although Santos is such an idiot, because he tried to jump these two. So LA and Bob went, why don't we join forces and become Bob La, which they would do. They whooped his ass. Knight then realised in that moment he could try and surprise Bob with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roller. But Lashley was a bit like, you do know I'm more experienced than you. He kicked out. They then all started to brawl when Santos Escobar didn't die, because of course he did, it's 2024, when everyone kind of got saved by the commercial break. But when we came back from the advert, Bob and Santos were just fighting, so I guess they'd murdered LA Knight. Turned out that instead he was just going to try and do a superplex, where Bobby Lashley spied this from afar when he did the wrestling math, and he realised, oh my gosh, there are 3 guys total, so you know what he did, the Tower of Doom spot. He absolutely loves a Todd. What? This is when LA Knight was able to hit his elbow, and it went totally crazy, because the Legado del Fantasma ran out, as did the Street Profits, and because everybody was getting involved in a schmoz, and Bob thought he could hit a spear, he tried to do that, but he missed. This is mostly because Escobar just got out the way, and more wrestlers could learn from this, but of course it also meant he had totally forgotten about La Knight, who snuck up behind him. He hit the blunt force trauma, and he got the 1, 2, 3. He is going on to next week. And of course at this juncture we could all figure out what was going to happen here, but in terms of giving me an enjoyable wrestling match, get it up. It turned out Rey Mysterio had been watching this from the back as well, which didn't make sense, but Caleb Braxton was like, oh hey, Rey, come here for a second. I was talking to Santos earlier, and he said last week he wasn't responsible for attacking Dragon Lee. Kayla, that's what a guilty man would say. Mysterio basically ignored this because he wants to focus on the match later, because even though he is a Hall of Famer, he still has one last championship run in his veins. I tell you this, I've said that about a lot of people on this show. We're going to say it about the Masked Man too. I totally love him. We then saw the Bloodline headed to the ring, so I got super duper interested. And I tell you this, it started with a bang, because Paul Heyman got the microphone and he said, well, on behalf of the head of the table, we admit it, no excuses, Cody Rhodes beat us. Now, Paul also made sure to mention that Seth Rollins had been Cody's shield, like he said he was going to do, and because Roman is totally obsessed with what happened back in 2014, he took his attention off the American Nightmare, and he focused on Rollins instead. I'd be like, Paul, that kind of sounds a little bit like an excuse. It did get me excited, though, because, of course, we're now planting those seeds that maybe, just maybe, we are going to do Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, which people have wanted for ages. Well, Solo Sikoa lost his mind. He was like, listen, flub all this, we need to talk about the fact that wins and losses have consequences. When he looked at Jimmy Uso, I was a bit like, Jim, you better run. But he didn't. He just looked confused. Actually, at first, he was okay with this because Solo hugged him. It was like, oh, brother, I love you. You make me whole inside. But as it turned out, this was a massive ruse. When a hooded figure appeared from the crowd, and when he took that thing down, who was it? It was the debutante we've been waiting for. Tama Tonga is not only in WWE, but he's joined the flipping Bloodline. So these two absolutely whipped Jim's ass. I was like, man, I totally feel your pain, Uso. Because if you've been a long-term watcher of What Culture Wrestling, a few years ago, Tama Tonga tried to kill me, so now I've got PTSD. Tonga then held Jimmy up as well, so Solo could just spike him over and over again, like he was a frat party, and the whole time Paul was like, no, this is not what the tribal chief wants. Which is when Sikoa went over to Heyman, he thought he was about to be killed too, but no, Solo dragged him to the middle of the ring, and everybody did the one finger thingamajig. So who the flub knows what's happening? Solo then totally lost it because he got a chair. He put it over Jimmy Uso's head before he put him in the turnbuckle as he ran at him and Pillmanized him with his ass. As he basically said to Paul Heyman, you know what? This was under the orders of the tribal chief. So you know what my brain started to do? I was like, oh my gosh, maybe The Rock has actually taken over from afar. This was such a great angle though, because not only does it launch Bloodline 2.0, it also kind of ties back into 1998, because do you remember what happened there? Shawn Michaels lost the match, he went away, Triple H took over Degeneration X and made it even better, and I think that's what we could do here. And look, in around about 10 seconds, Sikoa feels like a killer again. We also do have the tease that maybe the final boss is in control. Yes, this was total fire. Let's get it up. When Cameron Grimes was just back on SmackDown. What the flub? He was facing Bron Breakker too, so you knew what was going to happen here. And yeah, it went about 3 minutes. Bron just went pew, 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 went 100 miles an hour. He smashed these guys around and just gave him the hardest, the best spear you'd ever seen, and he beat him for the 1, 2, 3. And beat him isn't even a word. And look, Bron Breakker looks absolutely amazing during all of this, and he is going to go all the way, and I will always take a match like this, so it is going to get an up. But I feel really sorry for Cameron Grimes. He was all cooked up in NXT, and he was ready to go, and now if we do anything with him, we're going to have to hit reset, and that just makes me feel upset in my tootsie toes, which is a strange thing for an adult to say. So once again, we're going back to being a lame Larry. Let's got to get it down. Do more with Cameron. We then saw Bayley headed to the ring, but before she was able to talk to us, we were having a chat with AJ Styles, and he too said, I'm going to win this triple threat match later, and then I will get my revenge on LA Knight. That's when I knew that's exactly what we were going to do. But hey-ho, we'll talk about it. Thankfully, somebody that did win at WrestleMania, though, was Bayley, and she came out here with her brand new championship. This crowd went absolutely crazy. She sort of had tears in her eyes, but not really, but it was emotional. And she was like, man, I just want to thank you for supporting me for the last 11 years. And I was like, Bayley, I will support you until the end. Which means I'll support her till I die. I've made this very morbid. She also wants to lead the women's locker room to better places. And you just knew that somebody was going to interrupt because it is WWE. But I did not have this on my bingo card. Of all the people, it was Tiffany damn Stratton. Now, Tiff was offended because she hadn't even been invited to WrestleMania when she made me laugh out loud. Because she was like, all right, Bayley, I accept your open challenge. But I was like, what do you mean? There is no open challenge. I don't know why I found this so funny. I just really enjoy wrestlers being idiots. It then got kind of strange, though, because Bayley was like, actually, I've already got a contender in mind. When she invited Naomi to the ring, and Naomi did indeed walk to the squared circle. So what was she doing? Just hanging backstage going, man, I tell you, I hope somebody says my name. Otherwise, I'm stood here like an idiot. Now, to be fair, though, this actually did tie in because Tiffany just laughed this off and went, she doesn't deserve nothing because I beat her on SmackDown a couple of months ago. I was like, she did? Ties in. Naomi admitted this was true as well, so said they could settle this right now, and I will never get mad at this. I like the fact I have been rewarded for being a nerd and watching all the wrestling shows, and it kind of does tie into new WWE. Giving it up. We were going to get this match too, but before that we were going backstage with Bloodline 2.0, and I just realised I forgot to tell you earlier, at the end of that first segment, Paul Heyman had his phone, he said, "Call Roman Reigns." Do you know what Solo did? He threw that phone on the floor, and he broke it. I don't think he likes the Tribal Chief anymore. I don't think Tonga is a big fan of him either, because he got in Paul's face and said, "Man, I did this under the orders of the Tribal Chief. So once again, we are just planting the seeds. Who the hell is the Tribal Chief now? Maybe it's me. Although I wouldn't have ordered this. I would have just said we should sit down for tea and crumpets." Solo made sure to back up Tama here as Paul Heyman just sold terror within his face. I'm just going to tell you this. It is good stuff. This is when we did get into Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton. Naomi straight away was going after Tiffy's shoulder. And do you know what Bayley was doing at ringside? She was going, "Yeah, go Naomi, go." It's like, that's totally unfair and biased. Stratton then got mad, so she went after Naomi's shoulder and threw her into the ring post. And once again, Bayley sold this like it was an attempted murder, and I wanted to ring Nick Aldis and said, "You better talk to your champion. She's not playing it fair." Commercial break kind of saved Naomi, because when we did come back from that, she hit this awesome crossbody, and she followed up with a splash. This is when we got into the 1-2 ooh. Tiffany then did the same because she thought she could win this with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, but as always, that didn't work when she hit this amazing Alabama slam. I mean, in many ways, that should be a finish. Instead, though, she did go for the prettiest moonsault ever, which is her proper ending move. But this time, she totally missed. So what did Naomi do? She hit a variation of the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, surprise roll-up. And of course, it worked here. 1, 2, 3. So I really did enjoy this, and I am going to give it an up, mostly because Bayley versus Naomi is a match I didn't realise they did need a pay-per-view premium live event until now. But once again, we are just going to do a bit more negative Nancying, because this was essentially a geese title shot, but in this situation, it was the champion saying, "Man, I'll just hand them out like candy." I don't think Naomi has actually won a singles match on TV. So I am going to give that a down, but look, that's just me being a sensitive Sally and trying to bring parity to the force. But in terms of my entertainment, I was entertained. I don't think that made any sense. We then just got the best video for Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, who are the brand new tag team champions, and I couldn't love that team anymore. And we cut to Nick Aldis, and he was talking to the new Catch Republic and the Street Profits and said, "Don't worry, boys, calm down. I will find you some challengers. Then maybe one of you can challenge for the tag team titles." I mean, I don't think either of them should win. And really, kind of need some more teams on SmackDown. Everyone's kind of had a shot. We also then saw Logan Paul from his house say, "Oh, I was responsible for all this WrestleMania success. And look, I am still the US champion." When we saw Chelsea Green and Piper Niven go to Nick Aldis, and clearly Chelsea hasn't learned from Raw at all, because he was like, "I want to face somebody random." And Nikki was like, "Well, why don't you go to the ring and I'll see what I could do." And once again, if you did watch Monday Night Show, I'm sure you could figure this out, because these two jabrones stood in the ring. And who were their opponents? It was Jade Cargill again, and this time she was backed up by Bianca Belair. I was like, listen, I would bet my life on this. They are never going to lose. Chelsea got wrecked straight away as well, so she basically tagged out to Piper Niven, although she didn't fare much better. Though I suppose at one point she kind of did pull on Bianca's hair a little bit. But look at me, how the hell can I empathise with that? Eventually Cargill got the tag and Chelsea just happened to be in the ring, so once again she just wrecked her with the Jaded, and she got the 1, 2, 3. And I actually think you could keep these two together for a long time, but it's also a team I actually want to see break up eventually, because who doesn't want to see Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill? And if you are one of the individuals that are like, "Oh man, Jade Cargill needs to do a 15-minute match," even though her squashing people is more than fine, do you know who is a good soldier to pull that out of her? It's Bianca Belair. So I just think all of this works, and look, I get excited about these two together, which once again is meant to be the point of professional wrestling. You're not meant to sit there going, "Man, I'm really bored." I wasn't. And it's the same with Kevin Owens, who never bores me, and most weeks he just actually wins the night. That's what he did here. Because he was talking to Byron Saxton about all these new WWE production things, when, of course, he used a brand new camera cut to just walk straight to the ring for his triple threat match. He also talked about the fact that him and Rey Mysterio have sons that are taller than him, but at least his son isn't an asshole, because of course he hates Dominic. I'm also pretty sure that KO knocked a CM Punk shirt onto the floor here. Once again, if you know, you know. And if we ever get to that feud, and we go proper inside of baseball with it, my word, things will never be the same again. This, of course, did bring us to our main event, though, which was Kevin Owens versus Rey Mysterio versus AJ Styles. I've said 1,000 times, you could do this match 392 occasions, and it would always be brilliant. They all went at it before KO was able to grab Styles and throw him into Barricade, but that's when Rey realised, oh my gosh, I have an opening now, and he splashed Kevin Owens, so as you go, I go, everyone goes, where's your nan? And they just went triple threat crazy because everybody was going for their manoeuvres when AJ Styles cut off the 619. This really made me chuckle, because AJ looked so mad about this. He does not like that move. Owens then joined in because he hit this ridiculous superplex onto Rey Mysterio, which basically murdered him. When he saw AJ, and he gave him the super kick. This is when I started to worry because Kevin was getting way too much offense here. And you know what WWE does in 2024. If your favorite is kicking ass, they're probably going to lose. I was then proved even more correct because Owens was able to German suplex both these guys like he was looking for sauerkraut. And even when Rey went for the 619 again, Kev went and he hit a stunner. That was brilliant. Styles then stopped Kevin from doing a swanton bomb, and I promise you, this is what happened. Owens was lying on the floor, so AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio climbed to the top of Tina the turnbuckle when AJ got Rey in the Styles Clash position, where he hit an avalanche style clash onto Kevin Owens, who was on the floor, and in the same movement, he pinned Rey Mysterio for the 1, 2, 3. And I'm covering my eyes because that was so damn well done, I'm never going to see anything better. It also means that next week AJ will also probably defeat LA Knight, but I'm totally cool with this because it means at Backlash, which is going down in France, we can do Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles, and they have a little bit of history too. And if you are looking challengers to step up to the plate for the first time, I tell you this, Styles is a fantastic choice. They will have such a good match. I didn't expect this, but I'm damn sure giving it an up. So all in all, I thought this was a really good SmackDown, and my favourite thing about it was that it just planted seeds, and I cannot wait for the Bloodline 2.0. I don't want to spoil it for you, but WWE may have signed some other Samoans recently. I think this thing is only going to grow, and like my damn bull's head, giving it up. Now, of course, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for AEW Dynamite, where, yes, we talk about that CM Punk footage. Otherwise, make sure you let your comments know in the comments. That's not what I meant to say. I totally screwed that up. But thank you for supporting me as always, even when I am on my travels. And I hope to see you in the States soon. If not, I will see you online. Goodbye.